Well, no, this story was just horrendous, Emma. This was this woman who was complaining that somebody was holding a swastika banner. And, I mean, should we show you the video?
Yeah.
'Cause I think it's wise that everyone... listen, if you're at home, have a watch. Listen if you're live on radio.
To walk with me because I can point these people out to you. And again, I was told when I asked that a swastika was not necessarily anti-Semitic or disruptive to public worship. That doesn't seem right to me.
Everything needs to be taken in context, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's a context of that. Why does the swastika need context?
What exactly are you confused about?
What I'm confused is how you don't. In what context a swastika is not anti-Semitic? This is what I want to know because again,
I suppose to some, I don't know how everybody would feel about that sign. That has happened. I'm here working to the Bronze Commander, and it is not my responsibility, unfortunately, my role, to walk down the road.
Well, listen, the Scotland Yard spokesperson said that this clip is a short excerpt of what was a 10-minute conversation with an officer. During the full conversation, the officer establishes that the person was concerned about, had already been arrested for a public order offence in relation to a placard. The officer then offered to arrange for any other officers to attend and accompany the woman to identify any other person she was concerned about amongst the protesters. But after turning to speak to his supervisor, she had unfortunately left. Emma, it might be a short clip of what was a 10-minute conversation, but I think that short clip was enough.
I don't think the public should even need to ask the police to stop someone carrying a swastika. We all know what this means. This is not about taking it in context. Apparently that was what the officer said. It needs to be taken in context. No, I'm afraid there are some symbols, and we all know what they mean. It's offensive to Jewish people, but it's offensive to all of us. And this is yet another example that we've seen of this sort of soft policing on certain sides of the political divide. Not even the political divide, just the ideological divide that we've seen with the pro-Palestinian marches, which are allowed to go ahead despite a small minority, inciting violence, holding hateful banners and slogans and things like that. I don't think there's much that the police can defend themselves.
Matthew Larson, Suella Braverman has been vindicated, has she not, in her quite controversial column she penned last year about these so-called hate marches.
Policing, yeah. Look, I think it's incredibly unfortunate that the woman felt that she had to go and approach a police officer, as Emma says, to go and get it removed, and it's not the police aren't automatically clamping down. I'm glad, as the police say in their statement, that one person had already been arrested for public order offence, and that there was a mechanism. I mean, I think, to be fair to the guy...
but the copper didn't know that.
I think he went to speak to a supervisor, which they're saying is in the 10-minute video. But look, I mean, clearly the police should be proactively clamping down on people who are waving swastikas. Because I think if it was a far-right demonstration...
they'd be on it.
Waving swastikas, quite rightly, they would be all over it. So they need to be all over it whenever it appears, whoever is waving a swastika...
I mean, Tommy Robinson can barely appear in public without being wrestled to the ground, even if he just turns up at something, which is fine.
Flag would be enough.
I mean, I think you're not holding an England flag, it shouldn't be an offence, but holding a swastika, whether you're Tommy... Tommy Robinson never has, as far as I know, but anybody who waves a swastika, whether their allegiances are on the far right or their allegiances are about Palestine.
Whether you agree with Tommy Robinson or not, he was nicked by about 40 officers in a completely over-the-top incident just for turning up to a cafe and going in for breakfast. So, yet you've got people holding swastikas representing the Nazi regime.
Yeah, anybody holding a swastika at a protest like this is clearly doing it for incitement.
Especially
they're clearly doing it
when there's Jewish people there as well.
So the police should be proactively clamping down on it, absolutely. Wherever it comes from, whether it's from people in pro-Palestine cause or from the far right, we shouldn't have people waving swastikas in our streets and making Jewish people feel intimidated.
The problem when I looked at that was that you had officers on each of the corners, and he was drinking his cup of drink as he was talking to her. He was arrogant. He was passive-aggressive in his behaviour.
I'm not quite sure why he's having a drink.
There's literally no justification for him then saying a swastika is not in context. So, I mean, if you cannot see that where there's a march that is pro-Palestinian, where there is a lot of embitterment towards Jewish people and a lot of anti-Semitic chanting, that a swastika would be out of context.
Exactly. We're not asking one police officer to rush up and sort of tackle 40, Nazi protesters, but we are asking our police officers to have a modicum of common sense and understanding,
and a system,
and if they're going to go and police those marches, they need to understand the basics. politics. I think they need to understand the basics, the politics behind it.
Have they not
And
had a
also they
2-hour
need to-
online training module like they're getting in Scotland on the hate?
Do they not understand what a swastika is? Because in which case they shouldn't be police officers. And you're absolutely right, Nana. They should not be holding their coffee.
It was arrogant.
It's a wind-up.